So on the line, Mike Protich from Red Sun Rising. Dude, congratulations on everything, by the way. I mean, you guys are now 2 albums deep. Polyester Zeal, did it eclipse, did it do more than you had in your wildest imagination? I mean, having 2 #1 hit singles and a third song that peaked in the top 10, was that crazy times?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of happened so fast. I mean, we were always confident in our music, and we believed that, if we got to the stadium of a national band or an international band, that people would like what we were doing. But the way it happened and how fast it happened, we could never imagined, and we're so happy about that.
It's rare that you see a band that toured as incessantly as you guys did. I mean, my God, you must have toured for what, 2.5 years behind Polyester Zeal and hitting some cities, 2, 3, 4 times?
Yeah, that album cycle was brutal. I mean, we're still grinding it out now. This is still early in our career, but I feel like that first album, it's like we need to get out there and do everything we can and to prove that we should be here. And we toured. I think that first year we did 172 shows
wow.
that year, and that was just insane.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it primarily you and Ryan as the chief songwriters behind the band? Because it seems like with the new album Thread that there was a bit of a different writing process. I mean, you guys have got a different producer involved, and the album is decidedly more kind of psychedelic and Beatlesque and a bit more artsy than Polyester Zeal was. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think. Me and Ryan have been writing together for years. We've had a couple independent records we put out, and if you actually go back and listen to those independent records, they're actually closer to what Thread is. And when we first got in the studio with Bob Marlette for Polyester Zeal, that was our first time working with a real producer.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of followed his lead a little bit on the production side of things, and not that we'd made a bad record. Obviously, the record did well. But it was less of what the band wanted and more of like him saying, this is I've made this many records. This is how you need to make this sound right here. So we followed his lead on a lot of things. And I think in Thread, we're more like, let's just see what happens if the band really makes it as natural sounding to what the band is as possible. And I think some people were taken back by that. I think fans that we gained on Polyester Zeal didn't know how to take it. It's definitely not as heavy, but it's definitely. I'm glad you said the Beatles because we're huge fans and we're all musicians. So we tried to build that musical landscape. So even the songs that sound very simple that we have on Thread, if you really break it down, there's a lot of complex musical pieces going on there.
Yeah, and being a musician, I can totally pick up on that. Absolutely. Which was a more fun record to make? I mean, because I too am a musician, and I too have worked with a producer who, took some scratch tapes that we made and came in and said, "Oh, wait a minute, let's break this down to its very core and then rebuild the song." And I hear, this piano hook, or he did a lot of stuff by just doing some composition on the piano to bring out some of the hooks
right.
that we didn't even hear existed. Was it tougher to work under that type of intense scrutiny and supervision, or was it tougher to, have everybody in the band be able to have their say-so and put their own signature on it?
I think it was nice to have the guidance, and I think we learned a lot. And I think going into Thread, Ryan and I have learned a lot from Bob. We kind of took that. And we had a little bit of the producer hat on a lot of the times. Not that Matt Hyde just sat back and did nothing, but I think we were more involved in, we wanted to sound like this than we were on the first record. And in the band, when we first started writing, it was just 5 guys in a room shouting ideas. And that was kind of counterintuitive to getting anything done.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we're like, all right, put your ideas down, we'll record them. And there's like the first demos from Thread are like literally everyone just throwing ideas on it. And it's just like, it sounds like a mess. Like the song's still in there, but Ryan and I still had to kind of pull it back and be like, all right, let's figure out an outline, me and Ryan, like the way we used to do it on an acoustic guitar and me singing. and figure out the song first. Then we'll bring it to you guys. And once everyone kind of found their role and what their strong suit was and what they brought to the table, once we got into the studio, I think we worked really quickly and worked well together.
So tell me about the new song and the video for it, which is brilliant, by the way. The video for Stealing Life. You're doing a campaign, and we were talking a little bit about mental health and mental health awareness. I've got some mental health challenges that exist in my family. I mean, hell, I sit in a box and talk to myself for 4 hours once a day. Go figure, right?
Yeah, right.
But tell me about this initiative that you guys are getting behind.
Well, it really all stemmed from the song itself. Really stemmed from 3 events in my life. The first one was when I really acknowledged what suicide was, and that's when I was in high school. And a friend of mine, a guy that I played football with, a guy that I saw every day at school, he took his own life. And that was the first time I feel like I acknowledged what suicide was. Growing up when you're younger, you know what it is, but until it happens to someone, you're just really confused, like, why would they do that? And but the thing that stuck with me was that I didn't feel like it was his fault. Even though he physically did it to himself, I didn't feel like it was his fault. And I knew at that moment that it was bigger than that. And then a few years later, another friend of mine from high school, that this guy was like my Ryan Williams in this band. Like, him and I started our first band together. I spent hours and hours playing guitar with this guy and learning how to write songs with this guy and gigging for the first time with this guy. And he took his own life. And
wow.
And I was just like, why is this happening? And why are these, you just try to find answers and you can't. And then most recently, one of my heroes, if you will, and biggest influence is Chris Cornell, passed away. And we were off the road in Grand Rapids doing some demo work. And I remember that next day, everyone was kind of just somber playing Cornell's songbook album over and over again. And I just had this guitar part that I've had in my head for years. And I was like, I'm just going to play it. And for some reason, I just in the moment of sadness and thinking about that and thinking about the topic, I started to write Stealing Life. And that's how that song, came about. I showed it to the band. They loved it. And they loved the idea. And we all started to talk about how, literally we had a conversation on how suicide and mental health has affected all of us. And so that, it was something that was special to everyone in the band and something that we could really plant our flag in and say, this has affected us and we don't want it to affect us any longer. So when we created the song and got the video idea, we just wanted to keep it simple and to portray the real mood of it. And we found out in Los Angeles, the people in the video are real people that that were struggling and were eager to tell their story and were willing to tell their story. And we're fortunate that they were able to step forward and be so honest, and it makes for a powerful video and hopefully we can save somebody's life.
So how can fans of Red Sun Rising get involved with this initiative?
Right now it's just kind of sharing the message, sharing the music video for Stealing Life, and just opening conversations. And that's what we keep encouraging people to do. And it's been amazing how many people have right there, on the internet, just on all our social platforms have really just wrote their story out and people commenting on them, being supportive. And that's what this is all about. So people can see there's other people like me and it's okay. And it's okay for me to tell how I feel and people accept it. And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's tough to be there when you're in a really dark spot, too. We're talking to Mike Protich from Red Sun Rising. You had mentioned Chris Cornell, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, Mike, but I have to say, as we were talking about touring and the grueling touring schedule you guys have endured, you're one of the few individuals that I think sounded better the last time that I saw you than the first time that I saw you. And I'm going, man, how does this guy, after 327 billion shows, sound better now than the first time? Like, your voice is so incredible. incredible. If you were able to do another cover song from one individual and put it out as, just a self-release to something, or maybe on a new album down the road, you guys did Alanis Morissette's Uninvited, which was a brilliant version of that. But who would that be if you had to make a call today, right now?
Well, I've always wanted to do something Cornell has done, or something Queen, or, I know I'm saying like just amazing singers at this point, but we actually recently did, and we haven't really talked about this yet, but I'm going to kind of, I guess, let it out of the bag here, but we just did a cover of the Beach Boys.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and, being Beatles fans and Beach Boys fans, and that's another band that, was very difficult to sing, especially with all the harmonies. But the composition, when you start breaking down a Beach Boys song, you realize how complicated those little pop songs were and how genius Brian Wilson was. Yeah,
they seem so simple when you listen back to them on the radio, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Well, Mike Protich, man, I appreciate you taking the time to give me a buzz today, man. By the way, have you had any good cigars lately? I know over at Aftershock you were on the cigar hunt, and I was able to come across a couple of Cubans, and we ran into each other at the end of the night, and nobody's cell service worked, and you had to go settle up, and our paths never crossed again. But have you had any good smokes lately?
I have. Somebody gave me a Cuban that was, I guess, it was just an unmarked Cuban. And I don't know if he knew the name of it or not. I mean, unfortunately, that doesn't help the story. But that was the last one. I haven't really been smoking a whole ton. Not by choice. I just been touring so much, and I try not to smoke that much on the road, obviously. But yeah. But I might have one tonight now. Now I'm in the mood.
Damn it. Sorry, brother. Hey, listen, I'm looking at the upcoming tour dates. It looks like you guys got a lot of East Coast time, but hopefully here in 2019, you guys will be doing another West Coast run. We can have you over for dinner, and you can maybe plan a day here in Reno where you have a day off either before or afterwards, so we can get together and barbecue and have a good cigar and a nice scotch or something.
Oh, we would love that. That'd be amazing.
Mike Protich from Red Sun Rising, always a pleasure to speak with you, man, and I look forward to seeing you very soon, all right?
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.